So today we've mostly looked at some fairly basic receptive and expressive skills that are going to form the foundation of a lot of your child's communication and language abilities. Now, we're quickly going to go over I guess we can call it a bonus task known as parallel statements. Now, if they're not already expressively and receptively labeling quite well, this task might be a little bit beyond your child, but at this point they will certainly get there if you continue to work on all of these things we've gone over. But if your kid's at that point where they're already expressively labeling new objects really well and they're starting to understand the category concepts we've gone over, this is just a great way to start developing actual conversational skill. So communication is one thing. Communication is where they're able to a child is able to express their desire and to understand what people are wanting from them. But when you start talking about conversational skill, that's that real back and forward, to and fro aspect of communication, which is kind of our holy grail. You know, we want to be able to have conversations with our children, and we want them to be able to learn new information and, you know, really engage in the world through conversation.
I'm going to have a quick interject, which may get edited out, but yeah, I was working with one mother and her child. When the child went out of the room, I said to the mother, "Do you ever have conversations?" And she said, "Well, you just saw us having a conversation." And I said, "No, I saw you asking him 8 questions." And that's it. As adults, we'll often structure things and interactions with children by just giving questions, and they can give a reply. So this is an awesome skill for them to be able to, as Kane was saying, do that reflective conversation, but initiate something different and something a bit off track. Okay,
so do you want to talk about then how we start our parallel statements?
Sure. Okay, now I usually will pick out... Children usually really love animals, and animals are great because they do things and they make sounds. So here I've got a chicken and a dog and a duck. I would like a little bit more diversity between the chicken and the duck, but they all do really cool things. So essentially, and you can do this with a group as many as you want, because whoever is before the child, so if you're working with their little brothers and sisters or with another adult, they're all modelling for the child the appropriate behaviour. We've got 2 of us, so we're going to do it with 2. Let's pretend I'm going to do this all through, but just for the moment, we're just going to do this. So I might go the chicken and the duck initially. So you give your child 1 or let them select, and then you'd have 1. Now, I'm going first, so initially when it starts you might just do 1 word. So I'd go chicken,
duck.
so he's reflecting back the idea of what I said, but he's had to create something different. And then I might go bok, bok, bok,
quack, quack.
And then I might go peck, 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 peck. And that, when you're mucking around, the kids actually quite like being peck, peck, and you can have a bit of a laugh.
I'm gonna
swim,
go
swim.
Swim, 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 swim.
Yes. And then eventually when you got to that point, you'd be building the sentences. So it'd be, I've got a chicken.
I have a duck.
My chicken says bok, bok.
My duck says quack, quack.
And we might go, my chicken goes peck, peck, peck.
My duck goes swim, swim, swim.
And then here's the reason for the wanting something more diverse. I might build up to where I go, my dog has fur.
My duck has feathers.
My dog has a tail.
My duck has a beak.
And then later on you're going to build up to things where we'll put these guys away. They've given a great scaffold, and you might, and we might build to, I am 6 years old.
I am 10 years old.
I've got a brother.
I have a mother.
And so on. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, sure. So the one thing I'd like to just clarify a little bit is one of the reasons why because this is a really, really great skill, and it's going to help your child's conversational abilities out a lot. But one of the reasons why this wasn't in our first core set of skills is that when you first start this with a child who's just at the precipice of being able to do this skill, their natural reaction, because so many times you've held something in front of them and asked them what it is. So, Shelda's natural reaction when she starts this is typically going to be, if I'm like, let's say we're starting at one word, so I'm just saying dog, and I say dog, dog. That's going to be her natural reaction, and that's totally okay, and it's totally normal. But that's one of the reasons why even though this is a great activity to do with your child, it wasn't included in our first bunch. It's because the best way to prompt through that reaction is by having a third party. So whether it's a brother, a sister...
Yeah. So I'd be a third party. I'd be sitting here.
This is hard to show with two people, obviously, but we're going to do our best. Imaginary shoulder over here is starting to do this with me as a child. Shoulder says, duck. My response when I hold up my dog, when I do this incorrectly, will be duck.
Dog.
Dog. So that's how you can have a third party prompt this drill. Additionally, you can prompt this by having the third party participate and go first. So let's pretend there's an invisible child here who's about to do this. And so far, every time Shoulder's held up the duck and said duck, this third party has always just said duck despite holding up the chicken. But if you have the third party go first, so Shoulder's like
duck,
dog, rather than see me repeat what Shoulder's just said, which is what our imaginary child has done up to this point, the child has seen an example of me correctly do the parallel statement. So that's going to help a lot with prompting. Don't let that intimidate you into trying to give this a go. It's a really fun, really useful activity to do with your child. But if you have a third party, a little brother, a little sister, a dad, a mum floating, an extra parent floating around, or just whatever friends you have around the place, try to give it a go with a third party.